When it comes to evasive steering, losing control of your vehicle in general is a scary and dangerous situation to be in. And even the most prepared driver will experience some form of that, either a tire blowout, a brake failure, or any other emergency situation during their driving career. That's why it is important to know these techniques, because you'll never know. It can happen. And you have to be prepared to know what to do when, if, or when that happens. So you have to steer to avoid an emergency, and that's usually safer than trying to stop before you reach that hazard. Then, if an escape path is available, then that escape steering will provide that better chance of you avoiding a collision. And then visually scan your area, keeping a good following distance as a good driver and a good vehicle exploration is key to escaping. So with evasive steering, you have escape routes. There are two common escape routes. There are another lane of traffic and the shoulder of the road. So the escape route, as far as another lane of traffic, if a lane is available, a quick lane change is usually the best option. Then the shoulder of the road, if the lane is impossible or dangerous, then that means the shoulder of the road can be used. And that's if there's no one on it. So be mindful, being aware, seeing that ahead of time. Then you have affecting factors. So factors that can really affect the outcome of you escaping or dodging an evasive steering maneuver. That will be a stable cargo with low center of gravity, steering onto a firm road or shoulder, controlled steering, proper braking, road conditions, and vehicle speed. The steering technique, you want to start the maneuver as soon as you see that emergency hazard. That way you can reduce the amount of turning as possible. Then you want to start earlier. Starting earlier requires less steering, so that way you can avoid that hazard. And then follow the 5 simple steps to evasive steering technique to safely steer your vehicle. And there are: step 1, you want to turn only as much as needed and avoid oversteering, because the more you steer, the greater the chance of that skid or rollover, whether you're in a truck, vehicle, or a tractor trailer. Step 2, turn as quickly as necessary. And if you need to turn quickly, use hand over hand steering by placing your hands on the 9 o'clock and the 3 o'clock positions while you are driving. So this will allow you to turn 180 degrees without letting go of that steering wheel. Step 3, you want to ease, let off the brake, let off your foot from the accelerator pedal, and then reduce your vehicle speed by slowing your vehicle down. Step 4, you want to brake before turning, because if you're firmly applying the brakes, that will reduce the speed before turning. So this lets your vehicle turn more sharply, and it'll also lower the chances of a skid or rollover. And then step 5, you want to prepare to counter steer as soon as your vehicle clears that obstacle, and avoid running off that shoulder or into another lane of traffic. So this is after you make that evasive turn. A smooth and quick counter steering is needed to keep your vehicle from going outside of that escape path. So those are the 5 simple techniques of steering effectively, the steering technique. Then you have your seatbelts. Always use your seatbelts at all times. It may and can save your life during an invasive or emergency steering maneuver. And then a quick turn could cause you to slide out of your driver's seat if you don't have your seatbelt. And that'll cause you to lose control of your vehicle if you're not wearing a seatbelt. That's why it's important. And then during special maneuvers will require specific steps and procedures. So the special maneuvers will apply avoiding an oncoming vehicle, avoiding a stopped or stationary vehicle, a vehicle that's not moving, and avoid a merging vehicle, a vehicle that is merging, getting into another lane or area. Now, the special maneuvers avoid, breaking down specifically, avoiding an oncoming vehicle. So seeing a vehicle coming straight towards you can be actually scary, but you can avoid this if it's time by flashing your lights, to sound your horn respectfully to alert that other driver of the danger. Also, if there's no time, then you brake and steer to the right to avoid that head-on collision. And then with working ABS or anti-lock braking system, brake and steer at the same time. So you want to steer and brake at the same time if you have ABS. Now, without ABS, you want to avoid braking and turning at the same time, because that braking will cause the wheels to lock up and cause a skid in the first place. So don't steer into the left lane, because if the other driver swerves back to that lane, then you could end up in a head-on collision, and you definitely do not want that. Then you want to avoid a stopped or stationary vehicle. You want to avoid a vehicle that's not moving. So the main thing for this solution is to always look about 12 to 15 feet ahead of your vehicle so you can avoid a dangerous situation. And if you cannot stop, then slow down and steer to the right, either to the next lane or to the shoulder. Then on a multi-lane road, then you want to check the adjacent, which is the next lane to the left, and steer into that lane if there's not another vehicle there already. And then if you're in the middle lane, then you want to steer to the lane that presents the least amount of danger on the road. And then if not, then you want to evade or avoid to the right, because it's better to force a vehicle onto the shoulder than the force of another vehicle into oncoming traffic. And then when avoiding a merging vehicle, you have to be mindful that merging vehicles can present a potential danger to drivers that's already on the road. So you want to check the on-ramps as soon as possible, and when another vehicle merges, which is causing an emergency situation. So when this happens, especially if you're going in traffic and your blind spots, you want to sound your horn to alert the other driver. Letting the merging vehicle get in front of you, that's another way, letting the merging vehicle in front of you if you have time to adjust your speed and to apply the brakes. Now, if the adjacent left lane is open, you can signal and steer into it if it's likely that a conflict with the speed adjustment. Then never swerve into the path of an oncoming traffic, or never force another vehicle on your left into oncoming traffic. So you always want to do a controlled lane change in these types of situations when it comes to merging. And it's about scanning, looking in your mirrors, being aware, judging that situation in that moment, and making a good, sound decision as a safe, professional driver. For emergency braking, over applying the brakes or using the brakes too much can actually lock up your vehicle's wheels, and that could lead and result to a vehicle skid. So you could also lose control of your vehicle. To properly use the emergency brake, your emergency braking will allow you to bring your vehicle to a stop at a minimum distance while still maintaining that control of your vehicle. So the two emergency braking techniques that you must or you should use to safely stop your vehicle is controlled braking and stab braking. So with control braking, you want to push the brake pedal enough to get the maximum, the most, without locking the wheels. Now, if your vehicle has a working anti-lock braking system, it will allow you to keep and maintain controlled braking pressure, even if road conditions are not the best or you accidentally overbrake. That's the controlled braking. Versus stab braking is continually or alternately applying and releasing the brakes. So it's a motion. You're releasing the brake pedal momentarily just to allow the wheels to turn, so then you can maintain that directional control. You can have control of that steering wheel. And that's if the wheels and the vehicle begins to skid. Then once the wheels roll again, then you reapply the brakes. Continue applying, then releasing the brakes until the vehicle has slowed or stopped. If the vehicle begins to skid and change direction due to the excessive speed or the ABS malfunction, then you begin the stab braking. That is the two emergency braking techniques that you can use to safely stop your commercial motor vehicle. And note, if your vehicle has working anti-lock braking systems, the system will monitor the wheel speed and prevent the wheel lockup from reducing or eliminating the need to use stab braking. And it will allow you to use controlled braking as well. Hey, BET Trainer here. Listen, if you really had true value out of this video, go ahead and click that like button and share some honest comments about this video, because this is going to help other people as well see the video and get the value information, so that way they can be inspired by what you're doing right now as well. So also, if you want to get the latest updates, go ahead and click the subscribe button, so then you can be able to always be updated on the next instant video that will be put out. So again, go ahead and do that. And this video was sponsored by BET Life Services and CDL for Life.